Thank you, Julie Rogers. And I'm very honored to be here and invited by TLC to speak on this topic of how to deal with the fear of death. So I would like to start today's teaching with a brief supplication prayers to my gurus. So I'm gonna start the prayers. Gangi shesang tawe mingom gesar zumbe dandraji zembe sezon sundu save dukyu miki duze gyu tuje dama kyune gyuren jiden sungi kongkyawe duwa pema karpe tarin dalu iso kyung ugen soling beme dongbo zay gewe namdro rangshin gedu cenjo peche yonde zongabe pema chungne dalu peso kyung Gewa gunje rinjin dai je kansa mele kapa rajo ba tambe shese deni tashin ba yusum lama namla chaksa lo. Kada juni gumba hundo jo lundu na she she taro jen ye ba dinge na jo tukchen ba ujin chemjo shabla solwa den. Tamba dume mindrol tamba ye jesu sanga tempa shiro gen zinada de kaden sunden che ngujyo pande lama solwa den. Minchege podane dusum sange kengeni ransem chuku moso tense pa tsawe lame shabla so ade nelu to kwa ke wa chinke lo dusum sange namjege ngo rigda kin ko gyasu ke khapta kadela na ma chebe penge lame shabdul tima me pala kusum kipa chembo kune chakse shi gyapsu je o chinke la do so manam kada nyembe semje tamje tendela na mebe ko pano ko parchawa Okay, hello everyone. So I want to request all of you to generate or cultivate the bodhicitta intention while you are in this teaching. Whenever you engage in a teaching or sadhana, whatever, practices that you put into your daily life, the first thing is to have a good motivation. Is very important for us, especially in terms of Vajrayana and Mahayana practices. Okay, so I don't want to waste the time, and so let's come to the topic. So my today's topic is about how to overcome or how to surpass the death through the practices of Hinayana, through the practices of Mahayana, and various classes of Vajrayana as well. So let me first clarify that all the teachings of Buddhism, whether it's a Sutrayana or Mahayana, it doesn't matter. All those teachings are act as an antidote to overcome the death and birth. So basically, all the practices are how to how to end the circle of samsara and how to acquire the enlightenment, right? So that is the basic goal of all the teachings and practices of whole Buddhism. But today we will be talking specifically on the practices which teach us clearly what to think, what to do, and what to meditate. But in general, all the practices are act as an antidote to overcome the fear of death. Okay, so the fear of death, what is the cause of fear of the death, right? So the self-clinging and attachment to our position and our families, our partners, relatives, and our identity is the cause of the cause of fear of death. So the fear of death, it stemmed from the fear of ceasing to be existent and losing one's identity in this world. So that is the main cause of the fear. So today we are going to talk about how to expel that fear of death. But ironically, in Buddhism, in the initial stage, practitioners are advised to raise a fear of death, which means we should rise, or we should initiate this fear toward the death, right? So, so for some people, it would seem like kind of weird or awkward, like when today's talk would be about how to expel or dispel those fear. But in Buddhism, it initially suggests you to raise that fear of death. So let me clarify the reason why we have to generate the kind of fear. So Dakpo Rinpoche says that at first you should be driven by the fear of birth and death, like a step escaping from a trap, right? So that's for the initial stage, that we have to create that kind of feeling. So in the middle, you should have nothing to regret, even if you die. So that's important. That comes in the second stage, where you should feel like kind of feel that you have no regret at all, even if I die. Like, for example, like a very careful person or very mindful person. So that's the example. And in the ultimate stage, you should be happy and relieved, like a proud farmer after the successful harvest, right? When you have done your work successfully, everything you have finished, then you feel very proud for doing whatever, for your work or your labor. So same likewise, we should be happy and relieved when the death comes. So those are the different stages of practices that we are supposed to generate while we practice. The first is we should generate the fear, and the second one is we should generate the feeling that we have no regret even if we die, right? And the ultimate one is we should be happy and relieved by this death, because the death, it brings the result and the practice together. Only through the death we realize that how much we have experienced, how much we have trained, in terms of practices. So death brings that kind of result right in front of you, so that we can gauge the level of our practices, how much we have, practiced, and how much we have trained ourselves. So that's the core meaning of this Dakpo Rinpoche's statement. And then Milarepa said that, fearing death, I went to the mountain. Over and over, I meditate on the unpredictable coming of death and took the strong hold of the deathless, unchanging nature. Now I have lost and won beyond the fear of dying. So that's the main, message of how to go through those different kind of stages until you reach to the state that is, or that excels the fear of dying. Okay, so let me introduce some method to prepare for death or to deal with the fear of death. The first one is understanding the reality of samsara, right? So mostly this method is applied by the tenet of foundational vehicle. So foundational, you can say foundational vehicle, or you can also say Hinayana, right? So in Hinayana's view, you will be taught how to understand the reality of samsara, which means by accepting the death, or understanding the reality of samsara. And that is the concept of foundational vehicle or a Hinayana vehicle. And the second method is seizing the death. So how to seize the death? So we will be able to seize the death only by seizing the self-grasping, right? When we eliminate this self-grasping, then only we will seize the the process of death and birth, right? So that's why that method is applied by the Mahayana tenet. So that's the view of Mahayana tenet, how to deal with the death by ceasing the self-grasping, right? And the third one is altering or changing, modifying the death. That kind of view is applied in Vajrayana, and especially even in Vajrayana, there are many classes, right? Outer Tantra classes, inner Tantra classes, and even in the inner Tantra classes, there are like Mahayoga class, Anuyoga class, and Ati Yoga class, right? So in this Vajrayana, in Vajrayana system, the practice of generation stage and practice of perfection stage. In these two stages, the practice of altering the death into Dharmakaya, practice of altering the death into Sambhukakaya, the practice of altering the death into the Nirmanakaya. So those kind of practices are used or applied in Vajrayana practice, right? Okay. So the fourth one is the method of dissolving back into the ground nature of Dharmakaya, which means when the process of death happens, our mind, the mundane mind, gradually with stages, it dissolves back into the ground nature from where it arises. So which means like going back to the ground nature, right? So that kind of method is applied in only Dzogchen, or you can say great perfection. Okay, so some people might confuse between the perfection stage, right? So even in perfection stage, it can be classified into two things. The first is just perfection stage, and the second one is great perfection stage. So great perfection stage means the Dzogchen one. So it would be like if you can differentiate the distinct between these two perfection, it would be better to understand, you know. Okay, so in regarding the first method, which is understanding the reality of samsara through the foundational vehicle. So let me read you an excerpt from the sutra on impermanence. So here it says, in the Jeta Grove in Saraswati in India, along with the large monastic assembly, Lord Buddha addressed the monks as follows. Monks, four things are appealing, singled out, considered valuable, pleasant, and highly appreciated by everyone. So what are those four? Okay, the first, Lord Buddha said that monks, good health is appealing, singled out, considered valuable, pleasant, and highly appreciated by everyone, right? But good health, however, ends with sickness. Then Lord Buddha again said, monks, sickness is neither appealing, nor it is singled out or considered valuable, pleasant, or highly appreciated by everyone, right? That's the first thing, how we practice the impermanence. Then the second one is monks, youth is appealing, singled out, it's valuable, pleasant, highly appreciated by everyone, but the aging of the body is neither appealing nor it is singled out or valuable, pleasant, or highly appreciated by everyone. Likewise, then prosperity is appealing, while the decline of prosperity is not appealing or pleasant or appreciated by everyone, right? That's the third. And the fourth one is monks. Life is appealing, it's pleasant, valuable, appreciated by everyone, but death is neither appealing nor it is singled out or appreciated. Okay, so those are called four ends of life, right? Which are the reality of this samsara, or it shows the impermanence, the process of impermanence. So when the Lord Buddha has thus spoken, the monks rejoice and praised his word. From this sutra, what we understand is that all the conditioned states are impermanent, uncertain, unreliable, unpredictable, subject to change. Just Just same like the pots are made by potters, whether it's fire or unfire are destroyed, conclude in destruction. So that's why for all the beings, all the spirits and all that draw breath, life indeed concludes with death. So it has its limit in death, for there is nothing that is born that will not die. So that is the, main understanding of that sutra on impermanence. Okay, now the thing is, let's focus on the Hinayana's concept on death. So so Buddhism believes in incarnation, right? Reincarnation. So however, death is not considered as the end of the life. It is merely the end of the body that we inhabit in this life. So our body is just like a guest house, right? Guest house, and our consciousness is like a traveler. So, but our spirit, but the thing is, our consciousness will still remain and seek out through the need of attachment and attachment to a new body and new life. So even after our consciousness leaves our body and transfers to the intermediate state or to our next life, still we have that kind of attachment, attachment to acquire new body and attachment towards our belongings that that we have in this very present life, or with our relatives, our partners. So the attachment is still there, even though we leave our body, right? So where they will be born is a result of past and the accumulation. So the thing is, Buddhism believes in reincarnation. So that's why death is not considered as the end of life. Still that we have to take rebirth again in this samsara, even against our will, even if that is against our will, we have to take birth, endless birth. So the thing is, when we take birth or whenever we traverse through the intermediate state, it depends on our own past action, what kind of situation that you will meet with, and what kind of appearances, what kind of hallucination will happen, and or in your next life, where you will be born. All those things, it depends on your own accumulation of positive and negative action, which means the law of karma. It plays an important role in that during that time. Okay, so we will be in our next life, we will be born according to our accumulation. We will be born into these 6 realms, like the realms of heaven, hungry ghost, animal, hell, or all those 6 realms. Or either we, through our good karma, we can traverse the samsara and will be born in the one of the pure realms or one of the Buddha field as well. So it depends on our own karmic action where we will be born. So that's why the reason for me to talk about the reincarnation is that the death is not the end of one life, and it's just end of one life, but it doesn't mean that we end the whole samsara. We have to come again and again, and we have to take the role in the stage of the samsara, endlessly, until we completely exhaust the cause of negative karma. So, okay. So, the thing is, our biological body is like a guest house. Our consciousness is like a traveler. And then the thing is, we soon have to go to another place, like quite different places again and again. This almost endless journey will involve staying in hundreds and thousands of such temporary residents until the weary travelers is liberated from realization of truth. So until we are liberated, we still we have to keep on changing the different places, keep on changing the different guest house, so that's why it's called the cyclic existence, right? Okay, so according to the traditional stories of life of Buddha, he first decided to leave his royal place and seek the enlightenment after encountering the four sights. The first one is when he saw the sick person, when he saw old person, when he saw a corpse, and when he saw a sage who renounced from the world, right? So that's why from this four side it impelled or encouraged Buddha to leave his royal place, the comfort of the royal palace, and so he proceed to seek the enlightenment, right? So that's why the first three side, sick, old age, and death, it epitomizes the suffering to which the ordinary beings are subject to. And the last side was a sage or a world renouncer, that indicates that one can transcend through all those three sufferings through the meditation or religious practice, right? So the greatest problem of all the suffering is death. So the final cessation of all, because the death is the final cessation of all our hopes, dreams, our plans, our success, and our love, loved ones. So which means the death is the biggest problem of all the suffering, which sees all our possession and our belongings, right? So Buddhism has emphasized on the importance of death, since the awareness of death is what prompts the Buddha to perceive the ultimate futility of this worldly concern and pleasure. So realizing that death is inevitable for a person who is caught up in this worldly pleasure and attitude, he resolved to renounce the world, right? So Buddha, he resolved to renounce the world and devoted himself to find the solution. So after years of diligent and different difficult practices, he became enlightened. So through this, he transcended death. So after that, he taught all his students, how to transcend that kind of a suffering, especially the death, because Buddha's his own the goal was to find an antidote or remedy to cease all those sufferings. So that's why even in his first teaching, he taught about the Four Noble Truths, which is about the suffering and the cause of suffering, how to cease the cause of suffering, and ultimately how to attain the nirvana. So that's why so here the reason for me to emphasize about the Buddha's life story is that the foresight is the one that emphasized Buddha to renounce from his royal palace and to seek for a solution. Solution or remedy to those suffering. So that's why Buddha, who is the Buddha, who is the founder of this Sutrayana Buddhism, himself was troubled by the suffering of death, and that in that way he was able to enlighten. And so whatever he taught in his sermon or in his teaching, it's mainly about verifying or understanding the suffering and understanding the cause, how to cease those suffering, right? Okay, so here it says in Milarepa's biography, it says Milarepa, he killed a number of people through his black magic. So after realizing his impending death, that he will be born in hell, of course, for killing the number of people, right? So that's why then he began to seek a remedy, how to exhaust his negative karma. So for Milarepa, for him, the thing that impelled him to get into the practice of Vajrayana is that he was afraid, he was frightened by the death, right after his death, he has his mind is curious where he would be born in his next life. So death, it became like a kind of a cause or the reason for him to step into this religious world or into this religious practice. So that's why the meditating on death and understanding the or we can say fear of impending death is also plays very important role in in the practitioner's life too. So Milarepa, he was very frightened by the death, that whenever, like, the clothes that he wore were very withered, like it's worn out, but still he doesn't have the time to sew up, to sew up all those his worn out clothes. So he would be saying that if I were to die this evening, it would be wiser to meditate than to do this useless sewing, instead of stitching his worn out cloth. He would think that I'm just wasting my time by, so the death was always in his mind. So that is how those great yogi and practitioner, they meditate on impermanence or on death, so that they would be more cautious about how to spend their time and how to spend their life. Okay, so then Geshe Kara Gomchung, this is Geshe. Geshe Kara Gomchung was meditating on the mountain in solitude, and his clothes always get caught in the thorn bushes that were growing right in front of his cave. So at first he thought, I should cut it off, but then he thought, oh, I might die inside the cave and may not come out next time. So he thought that it would be more important to sit and meditate than just wasting time to cut off that thorn bushes, right? So that's how Geshe Kara Gomchung, he practices, on impermanence. Okay, then in contrast to that kind of attitude, we worldly people, we think in a different way, right? Quite from the different level. Let me give you some example. We try to cover up the sign of aging that shows on our face. Like, we don't want people to see that I'm aging, so we cover the sign of aging by cosmetic those things and surgery. And we attempt to hide the reality of death by putting makeup on corpses during the funeral time, to make it more lifelike appearance on the corpse. So we are even taught not to talk about or not to get into the discussion of death, because it's an inappropriate, or it would look like morbid thing to discuss about the death with people. So those are the things we are taught not to do. So those are very contrast comparing to the Buddhist practitioner, who always like keep the death in their mind, always being mindful of the impermanence and death, right? So the thing is, we always tend to focus on things that would divert our intention from death. So we are trying to create some superficial kind of happiness or around us, instead of meditating on the reality of samsara. So that's very contrast to the teachings of Buddhism, right? So the Buddhist meditation text points out that we have ample evidence of death all around us, right? So everything, it's not just the death, everything is like keeps on changing. When we open the TV screen and go to the news channel, we would like see people dying here and there, and bombing here and there, trying to kill, to conquer other countries. So whenever we try to open the social media or try to talk with people, we see ample of evidence of death happening around us. But then again, we are so insensitive that we don't feel like I would be dead one day. So, so we are very desensitized by seeing all those things happening around, and we don't now, it became like we are too used to that kind of thing, that those death around us, that we don't, it doesn't even makes us realize that we are also on the process of death. Every day we are dying, every day we are changing, our life, the lifespan is like it's shortening, by passing every day. So the thing is, we don't have to go to cemetery or funeral home to see the death, or to realize or to meditate the death. The death is occurring around us everywhere, at all the time. Even the cells of our bodies are dying constantly. Cells are being born, cells are being died. And so since every created or conditioned thing is impermanent, everything we see, we hear, we touch, smell, or all those are in process of dying. But we don't say, we don't call it process of dying. We would just say it's changing, right? So the thing is, when we meditate on impermanence, the impermanence means changing. So the dying is the name that we give when one lifetime is ended. But then it's not the end of the cyclic existence, which means we still have to resume from where we from the state of dying to we still will be traversed from the stage of death to the intermediate state. Then from intermediate state, then again we will take rebirth. So it's like there is no never ending, like a kind of that's we can call it vicious circle, that never ending, that keeps on flowing. So the thing is, like everything that we see changing around us, even the changes of season, or the changes of people's attitude, or change the clothes that we wear, or the footwears that we use get worn out, we have to change it. So all those things we don't name it as a dying, but still it's same like it's dying, right? Which means like it keeps on changing, it withers out, it worn out with time. So we have lots of evidence happening around us. So that's why we have to learn from the environment, the changing, what you call volatile environment, that we have to learn from those volatile change or environment that is happening around us. And the thing is, there's nothing to hold on to, nothing that remains unchanged from moment to moment. So that's why every day, or we should say that every day, or whatever happens around us, is like a teacher to us, that teach us the reality of changes, teach us the reality of impermanence. But the thing is, we don't name those changes as a death, but the thing is, it's the same thing, it keeps on changing. So the thing is, if we hold on to something, then we will end up in a disappointment. So that is important for us to understand. So then again, the importance of contemplating on the death is that this understand. So some people think that, if we can contemplate on death, comprehend on death, then which means like we should it doesn't mean that we should withdraw ourselves from our daily life, or it doesn't mean that we have to resign, or like it doesn't means that teaching doesn't mean to show the morbidity. So rather, the thing is that understanding help us to become more diligent in religion, in religious sense, or that teach us how to accept the changes. So it doesn't mean that, we have to give up everything, renounce from everything, or feel like gloomy, or it doesn't mean that we have to be passive or something. But the thing is, we have to understand the real meaning of that, right? So let's say in a disclaimer, whenever we buy candle or something, there would be a disclaimer that, oh, don't leave the candle without any attendance, right? Without attending. So which means it doesn't mean that this candle will burn your house, but the thing is, it disclaims that we shouldn't leave it unattended, right? So which means we have to be mindful and careful when we use that candle. So that's the same thing. The teaching of Buddhism doesn't mean to make us passive or means to make us like sad, or it doesn't like it doesn't mean to do that. But the thing is that we have to understand that and take it as a proactive coping in our life, right? So it's same like the medical checkup we do, like when we think like we do those medical checkup to be more like cautious of our health, so that like our family history, the medical issue won't be repeated would be happen in us too. So it's same like that thing, you know. We should take it in a positive way, but it doesn't mean to scare away people when we talk about the death, right? So understanding of the death makes us realize the value of human body, so that every day, single day, and every single moment will be counted, you know. So we will feel fortunate, you know, that, oh, we have this and that, you know. So in a way, it makes us realize the value of human body. It makes us realize our presence, you know. So in a way, it makes us more intelligent in whatever we do and in whatever goal we set, right? So those are the things, how to understand the death. So there's a Geshe Potowa. He says that if you want to use a single Dharma practice, the practice would be to meditate on impermanence. So to meditate on impermanence is the most important practice, which is like, it's the single Dharma practice, you know. So at first, meditation on impermanence and death, so the advantage of meditating on death is that makes you take up the Dharma practices, and in the middle, it lead us to the positive practice, and ultimately it help us to realize the sameness of all the phenomena, which means no birth and no death. So which means like cyclic existence. We have to understand that it's not just the end of whole samsara, that we have to keep on rotating, you know, which means there is no which means all the phenomena are like to see the sameness of death and birth. So that is how the practices progress, you know, if we seriously practice on the meditate on the impermanence. Okay. So then the thing is, it's important when we understand the death. It is important that to understand that death is inevitable, like death is unavoidable. Everyone has to go through that process. It's just the matter of time. So the thing is, we have to get ready, you know, before encountering the real death. The thing is, get ready. So here, the difference between understanding the death from two perspectives: the one whose mind is untrained mind and the one who is trained mind, right? So the difference is the untrained mind will also will have the fear of death, but then that fear would happen only the death is right in front of you. When the death is coming close to you, then the untrained mind get agitated, you know, agitated and get frightened by the name of death. But trained mind, they always think about the death. So that's why that's the difference, you know. So untrained mind only think about the death when the death is in front of that person, and the trained mind always think of the death even though the death is not in front of them or not, you know, doesn't matter, always think about the impermanence on death. So that is the difference between two different people of trained and untrained mind. Okay, so once we understand that the death is unavoidable, so of course it would generate a strong sense of urgency to practice, you know, how to overcome death. We cannot stop the death, but then the thing is how to overcome the fear of death, you know, how to surpass that death through the practices. So it will create a strong sense of urgency to practice. Okay, so sometimes like when we don't think about those death and try to avoid the topic of death, then sometimes we would end up thinking like that, oh, I don't have time right now. I will wait until my children are grown up. When they are fully grown, then I will, you know, engage into those practices. Or sometimes we would say after finishing this semester, then I will begin to meditate. Or we would say I don't have enough time for now. So it's like we always try to postpone the death, but we cannot, we postpone the practice, but we cannot postpone the death itself, right? Which means we have no full understanding about the death, because death is unpredictable. That can come anytime, right? So that's why it says that we shouldn't like postpone or defer the practice, you know, because we don't know about this unreliable death, you know. So we should have a strong sense of urgency. It seems like when a person is caught in a burning house, when the house is burning, we always look for a way out. We cannot say, oh, I will come out when the, you know, the fire goes down, or I don't have time to come out, or we can make those kind of silly excuses, right? So like that example. So now the thing is, the first one is to understand that death is inevitable or unavoidable. The second one is it impels us to get into practice urgently. And the third one is only the spiritual accomplish can help us to overcome this death. So we should have a strong certain kind of a trust or confidence in the religious practice that this certain spiritual accomplishment will help me to surpass the death. So that kind of confidence or certainty we should have in us. Okay, now the fourth one is believing in karma, right? So the karma is very important, the law of cause, and you can say law of cause and effect. So the thing is, whatever result that we see in this life is whatever situation we see, situation of our life, you know, we see in this life is because of past karma. So what will happen in our next life would be this life's action. So basically action means karma, right? So once you have done something, of course it will react in a positive or negative way. If we, you know, even in the sense of physics, there is like cause and effect. So of course this law of cause and effect is known as law of karma in Buddhism. So that's why it's important for us to be more mindful of whatever we do, whatever we speak, and what kind of thoughts we have, because through these three doors of body, speech, and mind, we will get the result in, according to how we put those action into. So that's why it's so through karma, right now we are alive. We have like full control over our action, body, speech, and mind. But once we die, when we are in the process of dying, and when we traverse to the intermediate state, during that time, the thing is only the karmic habitual impression that we have left in our three doors, body, speech, and mind. Those will show the reaction there. And so in a way, when we are alive, our body, speech, and mind are more, they have more control, they are more predominant. But once we die, the predominant thing is our habitual pattern, so that's why it's important for us to create or to raise a good habitual pattern when we are alive, because once we are died, then it only depends on the habitual pattern. So if we have make bad impression on our karmic action, then obviously it will react in a negative way, right? So that's why during our lifetime, it's important for us to make a good impression, good habitual pattern through body, speech, and mind, right? Okay, so the thing, His Holiness Dalai Lama, he said that our good action are an excellent way of preparing for our death. If we have accumulated good action, then we don't have to worry about the death, So which means like how we die, the process of dying, it depends on what kind of action we have done in this very lifetime. So if we have spent our life mindfully, carefully, positively, then the process of death will be also happen in a positive way. So that's why His Holiness Dalai Lama said that our good action are an excellent way to prepare for our death, which means we have to be careful about our action, not to engage into the negative deeds, right? Okay, so even Leonardo da Vinci, he said that just as a well-spent day brings a happy sleep, so a life well spent brings a happy death. So it's same like that, but he's mentioning in a different way, but it's the same thing. So if we give a trouble to others, then in a way it comes back to us, So if we have lived a life of emotional turmoil or conflict or selfish desire, unconcern for others, then our dying will be full of regrets, pain, and trouble, So which means that we have to be careful when we are alive. We have to be careful of our action. It's not about like being just selfish. The thing is, it will, in a way, it will come back to you. Whatever you give, like it will get back to you. You will pay off for that. So that's why those kind of things are very important, and we have to be mindful of our action too. So that is how to contemplate on death. So contemplate on death or impermanence doesn't mean that you have to sit and just think about dying. It's not about just dying. It's more about through the reality of dying, we have to meditate in a different way, like we have talked, right, about how to think about the law of karma, to think about to be more generate the more sense of practice, or to generate the sense of urgency in practice, and thinking about the changes that's happening around us. So those are the branches of meditation, those are the categories of meditation, of contemplating on death. So death means you not only thinking about I'm dying. It's more about thinking in how it will influence if we die, and what to comprehend on the past action, and even for the future actions too. So it's more about thinking in a wholesome, holistic way than just thinking about dying. Okay, so now we are moving to the second way of method of dealing the death. The second method is seizing the death seizing the fear of death by seizing the self-grasping in Mahayana practice. Now we are moving to the Mahayana practice. So in Mahayana, I will then again recite an excerpt from the Mahayana Sutra, the sutra which is known as Wisdom at the Hour of Death. Wisdom at the Hour of Death. So here, Bodhisattva Akasha Garbha pays homage to the Lord Buddha and asks, "Blessed one, how should we think about the mind of Bodhisattva who is about to die?" So Lord Buddha replied that Akasha Garbha, when a Bodhisattva is about to die, he should cultivate the wisdom of the hour of death. So the wisdom of the hour of death is as follows. So here it is. Since all the phenomena are since all the entities are impermanent, one should cultivate the clear understanding of non-attachment. So that's important, right? So when it's impermanent, when we know that all the phenomena are impermanent, we should have understanding that we should be more detached or understand about the non-attachment. So this is basically the practice of Hinayana, foundational vehicle. So those kind of practice, those kind of practice are done through 4 mind training that averts us from worldly concern, right? So through 4 mind training, we can help ourselves to become less detached, to let go some of attachment to the possession, belongings, the people around us, so which means it will decrease the level of attachment. So the second is, it says, since all the phenomena are connected with the enlightened mind, one should cultivate the clear understanding of great compassion. So that is the main practice of the Mahayana vehicle, which is mainly based on the compassion, right? So okay. So the third one is, since all the phenomena are naturally pure, one should cultivate the clear understanding that there are no entities in conventional level, which means here the pure means all the phenomena are like pure, primordially pure in sense of appearance, in sense of sound, in sense of thought, which means all the phenomena are primordially pure as deity. All the phenomena sounds are primordially pure as mantra, and all the phenomena of those thoughts thoughts are like pure as wisdom. So which means this practice mainly directs toward the practice of Vajrayana, and especially especially Mahayoga's practice, right? Okay, so the fourth one is, since all the phenomena are naturally luminous, one should cultivate a clear understanding of non-apprehension, which means non-conceptual, which means this practice mainly direct toward the Ati Yoga, or you can say the Dzogchen's practice. So those are the different practices that we are supposed to cultivate when we are dying. The first one is think that all the entities are impermanent. Second one is all the phenomena are naturally pure. And the third one is all the phenomena are naturally luminous. And the fifth one is our mind is the cause of all the arising of wisdom. So mind is the cause of samsara. Our mind is also the cause of nirvana. So mind is cause of both the samsara and nirvana. So do not look for the Buddha elsewhere, which means our mind itself is the Buddha nature. So those are the 5 practices while that we should cultivate at the hour of death, right? Okay. So according to the Buddhist way of thinking, when we meditate on death, it is also the key that unlocks the mystery of life. So when we talk or meditate or comprehend on death, we are also unlocking the understanding of life. So life and death are two end, but it connects to each other. So the thing is, once you understand the life, then you understand the death. Once you understand the death, then you understand the life, which means those are connected to each other. So once you understand the death, then you understand the purpose of life. The purpose of life. So in a way, it's related. So unwilling to understand death is same like it seems like we are like ignoring, or we are just neglecting the reality of death. So I gave you the example before, to neglect, decline oneself to do a medical checkup, so which means that I don't want to do medical checkup, even though I know that there's something wrong in my body, but I don't want to do those checkups. So those kind of avoidance, or those kind of unwillingness to concentrate, unwillingness to focus on the reality is same like you are not willing to comprehend on the death, because you are frightened by just merely talking about the death, right? So those are some examples given in this in the concept of Mahayana, that we should do the proactive coping, and then understand the death for the betterment of our this life and the coming. Okay, so here it says, when we say die, okay, now we are getting more to the deeper level. So here, when we say die, so when we say die, there should be a one who die, right? There, when we have action, there would be a person who would be doing that action, and the actor and the action, right? So likewise here, when we say die, there should be a person who is dying, and the process of dying should be related with that, right? So here, in the sense of Mahayana's practice, we have to do an analytical meditation and try to find out who is dying. When we talk about die, then it's like asking, who is dying? Show me who is dying. Point out the person who is dying. Let's see how do you show the person who is dying, so that's the question. So here it says, the one who dies and the act of dying do not exist in reality in Mahayana sense. It is only a concept, only a name, so let me give you an example. Here there is this famous dialogue between King Milinda and sage Nagasena. And Nagasena is wishing to explain to the king this law of aggregate. So sage Nagasena, he wants this king to understand the emptiness. He wants the king to understand the selflessness, right? So he inquired the king. He asked the king, King Milinda, how he came there, to that spot, because sage Nagasena, he saw king was coming to his place, and then he asked king, how did you come to this place, whether on foot or through driving, so the king replied that he came in a chariot. He said chariot. So then Nagasena asked, if you come in a chariot, show me where is the chariot. So he was asking, is the pole of the chariot is chariot? The king said no. So the axle of the chariot is chariot? King said no. So is the chariot body is chariot? Is the yoke of the chariot is chariot? Are the reins of the chariot is chariot? So he was asking, the wheel of the chariot is chariot or no? So then king could not answer, but he keeps on saying no, and then Nagasena, he asked, where is this chariot in which you say you came? You are almighty king, of whole continent of India, yet you speak a lie when there is no chariot. So that's what he said. So in this way, by sheer analysis, by breaking up what is identified or verified as a chariot, so he didn't find any chariot, So Nagasena was ultimately, sage Nagasena was able to convince this king that chariot does not exist, but only component or part exist. And then we identify all those parts together as a chariot. So that's how the conventional things are in this samsara, right? So even the components, even if we dismantle those components to a subatomic level, so then there's not even a subatomic thing that is irreducible. Everything is reducible. So you won't find any entity that exists by itself. So that's how sage Nagasena convinced this king Milanda there is no chariot. So we have to apply that same thing to a person too. Let's say a body. So let's try to find out where is Jetsunma, try to find, and then so the thing is we do this analysis not to scare away people, but to find out the reality of selflessness, So we would say my teaching, I would say Jetsunma's teaching, I would say Jetsunma's mind. So we cannot point out where is Jetsunma. If you say the body is Jetsunma, then Jetsunma, when I say my body, then where's my? If the body is mine, then when I say my body, so where's my, So some people would say mind is the thing that we identify as my. So then again, we use the word like my mind. So when we say my mind, so mind is my, then why we are using this mind, So that's why we cannot find the real person who is dying. So if we can find the self, then there's no question of finding the person who is dying. So when there is no person, then there's also no process of the action or movement, right? So that is how we come to the level where we understand the selflessness, so that we can overcome the fear of death. Okay, so then we have to apply that same to our mind too, because the thing that we identify ourselves, let's say I'm Jetsunma, I think all 5 aggregates combined together, then I think I'm Jetsunma. So likewise, my feelings, my thoughts. So the thing, in terms of my thoughts that happens in my mind, I would say my mind, but then when we dismantle our mind, there's no mind at all. The mind is just a stream of consciousness, the stream of thoughts that keep on changing. It seems like the river that keeps on flowing, but we think that the river that we crossed this morning is the same river, but that's not the same thing. So an hour ago, I was teaching, but the thing is, when I was teaching I was starting my teaching an hour ago, that Jetsunma is not this Jetsunma. Because my mind, my body has already declined, has already changes from moment to moment. So I cannot identify it as my mind, or I can identify it as my ideas that I'm teaching. I cannot identify it. It's already gone. So when we dismantle, debunk all the thoughts, the stream of thoughts, we won't find. So the compartment of thought that we have, like sometimes we become angry and then hatred comes in us, anger comes in us. But then the thing is, that's just one episode. Then it changes. Then we can become calm later. Then again, we can become like a confused later. So the thing is, the different kinds of those emotional episodes, it keeps on changing, coming in our mind, but we cannot say that that's my mind. If the angry mind is me, then where is my compassionate mind, right? So we cannot identify oneself according to the episode of our thoughts and our emotions, which means it is just the stream of thoughts and emotions that we verify as our mind. So in a way, we think that an entity who has mind and body are called a being, right? So we call being, a being does exist because of their body and their mind, you know. So in a way, it's very confusing when we get to the basic analysis. So that is how we need to meditate to find out where is the person who is dying. So in a way, the thing, because of our habitual pattern of owning things, our habitual pattern of attachment, we always end up collecting all those episodes of thought, and we verify as a mind, and we collect all our body part, and we give it a name as Jetsunma's body, right? So in a way, we are very prone, or we are too much used to identify something by combining all those parts together, component together, and then we make it as a one holistic thing, and then we name it. So it is just a concept. It is just a name that we identify ourselves as let me say Jetsunma, you know. So in a way that it's all about we give it a name. It's just a concept, and we combine all those together. It's like collective noun. So let's say all those organizations, we would say this is TLC organization, this is Ewam organization, but there's not such a thing like organization. It's just a collective noun. It's same like that thing, you know. So all those components combined together, people combined together, and just give it a name of an institute or organization. So it's very, if we analyze on that, it is easy to understand, right? But then just by understanding, it's not gonna, it's not a worthwhile. We have to practice on that, be mindful on that, you know, and create a habitual pattern in our body, speech, and mind. So let's say those scientists, they can investigate anything on the microscopic level. They understand there's nothing like, even if you give a chariot to a scientists, they would just debunk it, and then they would reduce it to the subatomic level. But then the scientists are not a practitioner, so they understand up to the smallest subtlest thing, you know. They see that subtlest thing from their own scientific those equipment, but they are not practitioners. So that's why it doesn't help them to understand the emptiness, you know. So that's why the difference is just understanding is not going to work. The thing is, we have to understand from a different level so that we gain a certain kind of conviction in us that that's the truth, that's the reality, you know. Okay, so those were the different method of Hinayana and Mahayana. So now let's move to the Vajrayana's Vajrayana's way of surpassing the death. Okay, so the Vajrayana is altering the death into in a Vajrayana's practice, right? So in Vajrayana's practice, we visualize deity mandalas through the practice of generation stage and perfection stage. Okay, so here, so Vajrayana practitioner, they do meditation on specific Buddha, like Buddha Amitabha. We can say Buddha Amitabha, while it help people to transfer their consciousness to the pure land, right? And some people, they practice on certain kind of bodhisattvas, such as the Buddha Avalokiteshvara, or you can say Vajrasattva, or you can say Taras, Pure Land. And so in a way, people, they meditate on certain Buddhas or Bodhisattvas so that they can support us at the time of the death and to transfer the consciousness to their Buddha field, right? So, so soon after death, when our relative mind, mundane mind, it dissolves into the absolute nature, and during that time, we will experience the three different phases of luminosity, like bliss, luminosity, and then non-conceptual wisdom. So all of these three experiences are wisdom, but in a different way. The first one is bliss wisdom, second is luminosity wisdom, and the third one is non-conceptual wisdom, right? So those are the phases of bardo, or you can say dying, primordial, you can say primordial phase of dying, right? So we will experience those kind of thing in Vajrayana, according to the Vajrayana's view. But for most people who are untrained, for them, when these three experiences arise after the death, it passes very quickly, like very oftenly, like a flash. The how we scroll or how we swipe a mobile phone, it's same like swiping, in a very like a flash, and it doesn't stays like that much. But then for the people who have trained their mind in generation stage and perfection stage, for them, the episode or the length of those experience will be enough for them to recognize. So in that way, they dissolve back to the absolute nature, and then which means they are liberated in the Dharmakaya, which means the ultimate enlightenment, right? So that is those are the view of Vajrayana. Okay, so so for the most of the untrained people, they are totally frightened by the mundane. So when the untrained people, they are on the verge to die, or they are in the process of dying, they get very anxiety, and they get very anxious, and in a way, it shows a fear in them when all those inner four elements and sensory fields begin to cease, and then in a way they feel like they feel very anxious, like frightened in that sense. And in that way, it disturbs their mind, which means they get confused, and in a way, it disturbs their mind. It won't help the untrained people to calm their mind. So when all those three experiences, it appears in sequence, then it would be difficult for them to calm down and to recognize that, So that's why it's important for us to calm down our mind, before when we are on the verge to, when our breath is about to stop. During that time, it's important for us to be very calm and composed, right? Okay, so so in a way, when you are totally frightened, then you are confused, then you won't recognize the basic nature, and in a way, then you will be transferred into the intermediate state, and even in the intermediate state, those hallucination, when it appears, you will become more confused and more frightened. So in a way that we will become like a very light cotton, like when the wind blows, the light cotton has no weight, which means it's confused. It will blow on the direction where the wind blows it, because you don't have control over your mind, right? So whenever you attachment, anger arise in you in the intermediate state, then that kind of emotional wind blows you, and you will be moving on that direction, which means you have no stable kind of control over your mind. So that is the difference between the trained mind and untrained mind, right? Okay, so during that time, mostly during the intermediate time, the most trained or the sharpest faculty, you can say sharpest faculty, or you can say the people who are most experienced, for them they will be just liberated through the primordial dissolution of mind during the dying stage. They will be liberated just from that stage into the Dharmakaya. But for the moderate practitioner, when they traverse from the dying stage to the intermediate stage, during that time, they in the intermediate state, when those appearance of Buddhas appear and the appearance of cyclic existence also appear at that time, and hallucinations also comes. But then during that intermediate state, those moderate practitioner will be liberated, or they will recognize that those are just the manifestation of our own mind. So in that way, they will be liberated during the intermediate state. And then the least experienced one, for them, even if they have they did practice on a perfection stage, if they have some experience in generation stage where you visualize the deity, where you engage yourself into sadhanas, So if you have that kind of experience, you will be liberated. You will be liberated to a good birth when you are about to take a next life. Then that is the third chance that you get. The first chance is when you are dying. The second chance is when you are in the intermediate state. And the third chance is when you are about to enter into a mother's womb. That is the third chance for us to liberate ourselves. So during that time, if we could have the power to choose the good birth and choose your parents and choose the place where you will be born, so that is also like kind shows that you have control on your birth too. So that's considered the least experienced practitioner in terms of Vajrayana. And the last one is the practitioner of weak, you can say weak. It seems a bit offensive word, but then it says weak practitioner. So the for weak practitioner, they have to rely on poa, which means the consciousness transference to a pure, you can say pure field, you can say Buddha field, or to a good birth, or to upper realm, good realm of human. So then you that kind of practitioner has to rely on the power to transfer their consciousness. If we can do it by ourselves, then it's better. But if we can't, then again we have to rely on our guru's instruction. They would guide us to the proper birth, and or sometimes your dharma friend or sangha member with whom you have taken a same vow of samaya vow, or with whom you have received empowerment. Those sangha members are considered our closest dharma friends, or dharma siblings. So from them, if you have good samaya, if there's you don't have like any stain in the samayas, then from those kind of dharma friends, we can receive their instruction while we are on the deathbed, right? So because of the pure samaya bound that you have with your dharma siblings, it helps us to to guide those confused consciousness on the right path. So those are, in terms of Vajrayana, those are the 4 different kind of transference of consciousness. The first one is through the practice of Dzogchen. If you can recognize your own could recognize your own primordial wisdom by yourself at the time of dying stage, then that is considered the best one. And the second, the middle moderate one is if we have enough experience in visualizing deities, if you engage, if you have experience in sadhana practices or those empowerments, then you will be through your experience you can liberate yourself in intermediate state into the Sambhogakaya, in the Sambhogakaya form. And the third one is the least practitioner who can liberate themselves by choosing the good birth. And the fourth one is by doing the conscious transference by yourself. And the fifth, the biggest one, is that to rely on someone, to rely on your own gurus, or rely on your pure samaya holding dharma siblings, friends, and get instruction from them and get help from the guide from them to transfer into good realms or good birth. So those are considered the some kind of Vajrayana's method. And so even in the Vajrayana's method, if we focus specifically on the certain kind of practice, then I can also like show you some of those practices. So when we during the generation stage is specifically practiced, known as the practice of Mahayoga, right? So Mahayoga is the practice where the practices are focused on deity visualization, recitation of mantra, and to focus on the focus on the seed syllable, or you can say to focus on the mind of that certain deity. So the practice that revolves around visualizing the deity, chanting the mantras, and focusing on them are considered as the practice of Mahayana. And in terms of Anu Yoga is, you can say Anu Yoga, or you can say perfection stage, which in Anu Yoga, its view is mostly based on the practice of 6 yogas. 6 yogas, I hope you might know the 6 yogas. 6 yogas are Cheruk, in Tibetan it says 6 yoga, the practice of Tummo, the practice of illusory body. Second one is illusory body. And the third one is dream yoga, right? So dream yoga is the third yoga. And the fourth one is luminosity yoga. And the fifth one is Bardo, the intermediate state, practice of intermediate state. And the sixth one is conscious transference. So those are the 6 yogas. So perfection stage practices are mainly based on these 6 yogas. So all the 6 yogas help us help us when we are dying, and especially it helps us when we are in the intermediate state. And in terms of Ati Yoga means Dzogchen, right? You can, in English, you can say great perfection stage. So in that sense, the main thing is to, through your guru's instruction, the thing is we have to recognize the real nature of mind, which is the primordial mind. And through the practice of Trekcho and practice of Thogel, those are considered 2 kinds of practice that we rely to get substantial experience in the practice of basic nature of our mind, which means we trained and experienced ourselves into the nature of mind. And when the real ground nature of mind appears when we are dying, during the dying process, then during that time, because of our experience in the practice of nature of mind, we will be easily able to verify or recognize the ground nature of mind. So in a way, the practice of ground nature and the appearance of real ground nature, they merge together when we recognize the real nature of mind while we are dying. So that's called the liberation into Dharmakaya. And so that's how all those practices are done. So in terms of generation stage, where we visualize the deities and all those things, during that time, the generation stage help us to gain a practice experience in seeing or understanding the illusory nature of deity. To understand the deity as a illusory thing. Illusion, illusory body of deity, illusory sound of mantra, illusory, wisdom of enlightened mind. So all those are so this illusory doesn't mean the real illusion, or it doesn't mean the defilement. The illusory means that you have created it through your mind, which means through conceptualization. We visualize the deity, right? So it is called illusory because of it has been created by our concept, which is conceptualized. So that's why it's called illusory. So through the generation practice, when we understand whatever deity we practice are just illusory, that's just that comes out of our concept. But then the reality is that the enlightened mind, that when the enlightened mind, it understands that the real deity, it comes from our enlightenment. It's not that you create through your concept. But then again, during practice, for the initial stage, the thing is, first we have to practice by visualizing, by creating. But then when you get into the deeper level, when you practice progress, then you will understand that you don't have to create. The enlightened mind itself has the dynamic expression of the manifestation of deity. So that's the message of a Mahayana practice. And when you do that Mahayana practice, Mahayoga practice, which is generation practice, help us to understand that all those hallucinations, all those deities that appears during the intermediate state, all those are just the manifestation of our mind. I don't have to get attached to those. I don't have to get frightened by those wrathful deities appearance, which means we understand those are just the manifestation, and we don't get attached or frightened. So that's the message, or that's how the experience people they deal with the death, or the fear of death during the intermediate stage in terms of generation stage. Okay, so in terms of perfection stage, through the practice of 6 yogas, we understand that all those appearance and phenomena are just dream-like, and just like a dream that it comes and then it appears, and whatever it comes, it would just vanish next day, or after a moment. So it's all those are same illusory body, that comes and goes. So through these 6 yogas, we will understand that all those are also whatever those deities, or whatever those of enlightened thought that we have, all those has the nature of emptiness. Even the bliss is emptiness. Even the luminosity is emptiness. Even the conceptualization, all those are a contrived one. Those are empty. So in a way, this perfection stage, during perfection stage, through the 6 yoga, we will be able to understand that all the illusory things are also empty. So in a way, we progress. Through the generation stage, we think that all the appearance and tangible thing or thoughts that occurs right in front of our eyes or inside our mind are illusory, right? So through the through the perfection stage, we understand that even the illusory things do not exist. That's the second thing. And the third one is the great perfection stage, which is Dzogchen. Dzogchen, it really instruct or like guide us toward the basic nature of our mind, which has no duality between the appearance and emptiness, which has no constructed conceptualization, which is just a suchness, the basic space, the basic space with the appearance, with the awareness, which means it's not tilting toward the emptiness side or it's not tilting toward the awareness side, which means it is indivisibility of emptiness and awareness. So that's the ultimate message of Dzogchen and great perfection. So when we train ourselves through those three different practices of Vajrayana, then we will be able to get through the fear, or we will be able to get through the dying process. So okay, so I will leave it here because we have only 11 minutes. Okay, so if you have any kind of question.
Hi, there is one question here.
Okay.
Very good one. Can you please suggest a daily process that we can use to contemplate death in a meaningful way?
So you mean how to apply this contemplation on daily life spaces?
Well, I'm assuming this person is asking for some direct and perhaps simple contemplation process they can go through on a daily basis to keep this in mind.
Okay, so from my personal experience, I would think that the contemplation on death is a specific one, like but then on a larger level, on a deeper level, if we could think about the impermanence, if we think, or if we could be mindful about the impermanence, which means in simple term we can call changes, which means if we are able to accept these changes, so the thing is we are attached to the present that we can't let go, like when the changes comes, then when we are too comfortable in our present situation, we couldn't accept the changes, we couldn't accept the what you call the in terms of, even in terms of negative things, so I would say that instead of contemplating just on the death, I would say that if we can contemplate more on the impermanence, which is from a larger scale, then it would be easier for us. So even in that sense, in a simple term, I would say that if we could accept the changes that is happening around us, it is even called as a meditation on or contemplation on impermanence. Yeah, so the thing is to understand the reality of the samsara is to understand the changing nature of samsara, right? So if we could understand, if we could accept that changes, and if we could update ourselves with that situation, then it would make our life easier. That's my yeah.
Thank you, Jetsunma, very much.